everyone, Republic Gym here. I'm back at Barn Body World Headquarters for a bit of a workout and also to discuss a topic that's been on my mind for a while. I'm just going to do my trap bar deadlift session, which is kind of a high volume 10 by 10 session, and I'll talk about this topic in between sets. And should also mention that I'm lifting in the morning, which I don't normally like to do, but today is supposed to get up to somewhere in the upper 90s, and it's already starting to warm up pretty good. The barn has warmed up a few degrees just in the time that I was in here getting warmed up and ramping up in weights. So I don't want to waste too much time talking here before I get rolling. But yeah, my first few sets I'll be doing slow eccentric, and then a few sets of paused hold at the top, and then the rest will be just standard reps, regular tempo. So anyway, I'll get into it, and then I'll dive into the topic on my mind after this first set. Okay, one set down, only 9 to go. So anyway, what has been on my mind is that as I'm watching videos on YouTube and checking out various channels about lifting, I frequently see different videos saying something to the effect of, "You must do this," or "Stop doing that," or "You need to do this optimal type program, quit program hopping, do this, do that," and all giving these hard and fast black and white rules of what you need to do in the gym so that you're not killing your gains. And I kind of take issue with that whole thing, and I'll dive into that after this next. Okay, I should point out on some of these sets, especially the slow ones like that, that I kind of lose track of where I am sometimes. So if I accidentally do one extra or one less rep, that's why it is. I'm not senile, but you know, it makes it hard to concentrate on the number of reps when I'm working those slow eccentrics. All right, so with this content that I have a problem with, I think the first thing that needs to be noted is that pretty much without exception, they are all channels that are devoted to primarily hypertrophy, you know, getting bigger. Some of it is about getting stronger, but in general, the channels that I see pushing that are the ones that are all about hypertrophy. And my problem there is that I think, you know, granted they're gearing it towards a certain audience, but there's a lot of people that go on YouTube looking for information about lifting, and that doesn't necessarily mean that their primary goal is to get bigger. You know, yeah, there are a lot of people that think that's the whole goal of lifting, is just maximum hypertrophy. But certainly not me, and probably quite a few other people have other goals also. And those channels don't take that into account at all. They give this black and white stuff like you're going to kill your gains unless you do all this stuff right. But they don't know what the average person considers to be gains. So hold that thought. Okay, that's the slow ones out of the way. Anyway, like for myself, I've definitely put on some muscle in the first few years of lifting, but that's never been my primary goal. And where I'm at now, I'm fine with the amount of muscularity that I have. I'd like to get rid of a little bit more fat and make some of the muscles more visible. But at this point, I have no desire to get any bigger. I don't need to be building muscle at my age. There's no reason to try and bulk up. It's actually unhealthy in the long run to get to any extreme level of size. And I'm much more focused on just general strength and athleticism and overall health and fitness for the long run now. So You know, I'm sure there are others that check out those channels for different tips about lifting, but you know, maybe they're training for sport specific stuff. Maybe they're training just because they want to be fit. You know, there's any number of different reasons why people could be in the gym. So to just make a blanket assumption that everybody is training for hypertrophy is just kind of doing a disservice to those other recreational lifters. Ooh, knurling's getting to my hands now. Anyway, the other problem I see with that approach is that they assume that everybody needs to have the maximum rate of growth, and they kind of discount the long-term effects of training. Like, yeah, a lot of people may be doing something that's suboptimal, even if their goal is for maximum hypertrophy. You know, what they're doing might not get them those gains as fast as an optimal program, but I would argue that if you take into account the long term, when you start looking at like 20, 30 years in the gym and stuff, anybody that's training with any sort of regularity and decent intensity is going to get pretty close to the same results over that long run. You know, yeah, the optimal training might get you there quicker, but you're going to hit a point where for years on end, then you only see very minimal gains, and then you're just fighting to maintain that physique. And somebody that's doing suboptimal stuff might take longer to get there, but they can continue to make progress over a long period of time. And years down the road, it's really all going to look basically the same as long as you're staying at it and putting out a good effort in the gym every time you do it. Even if you're doing suboptimal stuff in the gym, if you're doing it with high intensity, you're still going to get results. So, in order to stay in the gym long term though, it really helps if people enjoy what they're doing. And I know there are the real hardcore gym bros, meatheads, whatever you want to call them, that just love lifting, even if it's the same thing over and over, year after year. And they just get excited about going in the gym and doing that same repetitive stuff. And if that's what they're able to do, more power to them. But I know, like for myself, you know, I tend to be more of a creative type, and I admit I get easily distracted and bored. So for people like me, if we're trying to go into the gym and just hammer away at the same stuff over and over for those optimal programs, yeah, we might make good gains for a while, but then odds are we're going to get bored and burnt out and start finding excuses to not make it to the gym. So I would rather mix things up more frequently and maintain a level of fun to where I look forward to it and continue to be going to the gym long term. Oh, yeah, the knurling on that bar is like a cheese grater. Oh. Anyway, that's all my pause reps. Now I can just go to standard ones, so be a little easier on my grip. Anyway, getting back to the topic, this is where it comes to the comment sections in a lot of these channels. Get these guys making comments like, you know, about people that are bored and such, like it's some sort of major character flaw. So there's 3 points that I see over and over in those comment sections. The first is they tell people, you just need to grow up. You know, be responsible, get in the gym and do what you need to do. Like, how is that growing up? So, to me, part of growing up is being able to be independent and make your own choices, and to resist peer pressure, go your own way, do what you feel like doing. Don't feel obligated to do something you don't actually need to do. That's far more mature than going along with the crowd just because they say. You know, as an adult, there's some things that I have to do, but in general, I enjoy the freedom to make my own decisions. And there are so many different options for what you can choose to do for fitness. You know, these workouts in the gym are just one small part of that. And of course, if you don't care about hypertrophy, then really you don't even necessarily need to do any of this stuff in the gym. You can get out and just go for runs, play sports, do all sorts of things to be active. But some resistance training is certainly beneficial, because studies are showing that a combination of cardio and resistance training is the healthiest option for long term. But growing up is hardly part of just forcing yourself to stick to some boring grind that you really don't want to do. And to be blunt, if one of your main life goals is to develop a physique that resembles that of some comic book superhero, and you're willing to put that goal before overall actual health and longevity, then I'd argue that you're probably not the one that should be lecturing other people about growing up. Sorry about that, my clock keeps malfunctioning. Anyway, so the second thing that I see in the comments all the time that really grinds my gears is that, come on dude, you just need to punch the clock, go and put in that work. So, I know a few things about punching the clock. I've been working full-time pretty much since I got out of school. So, with a few short intervals there where either I was unemployed or the weather didn't permit me to do the work that I needed to do. And occasionally when I've gotten sick enough that I had to miss a few days of work. But in general, I've been punching the clock every day for at least 38 years. And, why I do that though, because I had a family, and I had bills to pay, and there's this magical thing about punching the clock at work where they give you this cool thing called money. And that allows you to support your family and pay your bills and that sort of thing. But in the years that I've been going to the gym and doing different stuff for fitness, you know what nobody has actually offered me in all that time? Not once has anybody offered me good money to do some optimal workout program. I get it if you're a professional athlete or if you're an elite level amateur that's trying to become professional, or if you're a so-called fitness influencer that gets more views and makes lots of money by having an impressive physique. Then, yeah, the workouts you do in the gym, you literally are earning income there or investing in your future income. And so it is your job to show up and do the most optimal workouts to get results. And you go right ahead and punch the clock if you're doing that. But for the rest of us, just recreational lifters and people that are concerned about overall fitness, ones that will never have a really impressive physique no matter how hard they try, just because of genetics. I mean, for all of us in those different subcategories, there is no real reason to punch the clock. You go and do whatever you feel like that's going to get you the results that you want, and even if it takes longer than what the experts say, it doesn't matter as long as you're enjoying the journey. So, just to reiterate there, I have no need at all to punch the clock in the gym. You know, yeah, I'll come in and be relatively consistent, but I also go out and do other things. And, you know, like for instance, if I'm overwhelmed and behind on doing yard work, keeping the jungle around my house hacked down to a manageable level is just as important as spending time in the gym, and I can get good physical activity doing that too. So there's all sorts of trade-offs in life, none of which necessarily need to be secondary to those gym workouts, unless, like I said, it actually is something that's going to be bringing you income. So the whole punch the clock thing is just nonsense. And then the third point is actually even more ridiculous, but I'll come back to that in just a moment. Right, so the real kicker, and it's hard to believe, I've actually seen this in multiple comments on different channels and different threads, is something to the effect of, hey bro, you don't get bored brushing your teeth, just suck it up and do these boring workouts. And I just think, what sort of stupid analogy is that? So, first of all, let's consider the time commitment. I mean, I've already spent more time doing deadlifts here than many days worth of brushing teeth. And this is just one session. After I get done with the deadlift, then I've got some ring pull-ups and some sissy squats So, I mean, if you're spending anywhere around an hour or more in the gym, you very quickly, in one day, you get way more time commitment than you do from brushing your teeth for multiple days. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to get overly bored when you're brushing your teeth because you just do it and you're done. It's not like it's dragging on for, 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, whatever. Some of these guys are in the gym 2 hours a day, which to me seems crazy. But it's way easier to get bored the longer something goes on. So, my typical sessions run about an hour. And even though I'm doing multiple different lifts during that time, yeah, it certainly can get more boring than brushing your teeth. So it's hardly a direct comparison there. It's like, you're comparing apples and rutabagas. It makes no sense. And then the other, even more glaring inconsistency in that argument is how many variations are there on brushing your teeth? It's something you need to do for maintaining your oral health, but it's just something you do quickly. There's not too many options for what you can do. So it's not like you're going to be mixing that up daily just to keep from getting bored or anything. You just do what needs to be done. But when it comes to health and fitness and strength and even hypertrophy, I mean, there's so many options for what you can do. I wouldn't quite say it's infinite, but there's a huge variety. And, for instance, if I don't feel like doing the same bro split week after week, I can choose to put on a heavy pack and go walk out in the woods with my dog. And ultimately, that's probably better for overall health than just lifting heavy or high reps in the gym. The chance to get out and get some fresh air, work on cardio, do some heavy loaded carries, different things like that, have a lot of carryover to real life and overall health. And we'll probably do a lot more for maintaining fitness as I age. So, and there's just all these variables. If you choose to go play soccer or go for a bike ride, or like I said, if I want to go out and work at mowing the lawn, I can get a pretty good workout just mowing and weed whacking and stuff with the manual tools that I use. And there's just no end of variety. You can do kettlebells, you can do calisthenics, there's all these different options, and you can just mix and match. It doesn't have to be anything that's optimal for any specific period of time. If you did a different workout every day, as long as you're being active, getting those workouts in, yeah, you might not put on a huge amount of muscle, but you're still going to benefit from it. So, and just that amount of variety makes it to where fitness is accessible to anybody. You don't have to just get in the gym and pound away at those same old lifts and rep ranges and everything over and over and over. So, all in all, it's not even remotely the same as brushing your teeth. And there's nothing wrong with getting bored with one specific program and deciding you're going to do something else for a while, as long as you maintain that enjoyment of working out and being fit. That should be the real goal. Anyway, that's my rant on the crazy stuff that I see posted on different fitness influencers channels. And that's not to take anything away from those guys. A lot of them do have good advice about technique and rep ranges and variations and stuff. And I watch various videos from those assorted channels, and I even subscribe to a couple of them. But just really sets me off when all they want to talk about is getting bigger. Got to get maximum hypertrophy, and if you don't, then you're just wasting your time, you know. And all the gym bros and lifting police that just chime in the comments with these stupid things that really make no sense. So anyway, hope that kind of helps debunk it for some of you, and just get in the gym or go out and get some exercise outdoors or whatever, but just plan on physical fitness for long term. Just enjoy health and longevity and enjoy the entire process. Don't get burnt out and bored with it. This has been Republic Gym. I'll talk to you later.